Gas prices in the US jumped 50 cents in a week, and a war thousands of miles away is the reason. Right now, the war in Iran is threatening one of the most important energy choke points on Earth. And when that happens, the ripple effects don't just hit oil markets. They hit your gas bill, your electric bill, your entire cost of living. Now look, we've seen this film before, but this time, there's a twist. Households now have the tools to protect themselves from global energy shocks. In this episode of Plugged In, we are breaking down why wars can spike your energy costs, why fossil fuel markets are so fragile, and the 3 layers of tech that allow homes to break free from those price hikes. Because when energy markets get shaky, energy independence suddenly stops sounding like a nice to have and starts sounding like a must have. At first glance, the United States might seem protected from global energy shocks. After all, we produce huge amounts of oil and natural gas domestically. So why would a conflict thousands of miles away affect your energy bill? Well, energy markets are global, so when supply tightens anywhere, prices tend to rise everywhere. And one anywhere matters more than most: the Strait of Hormuz. Global oil supply is constantly moving through that passage, but tanker traffic has been severely disrupted since the start of the war as companies try to avoid the conflict zone. Markets react quickly to uncertainty like that. Oil and natural gas prices jumped as tensions escalated, and analysts warned they could climb much higher if shipping disruptions continue. Now, if you're thinking, okay, well, I'm not an oil importer, well, fair point. But if you're still driving a gas-powered car, well, like I said, prices are already up 50 cents a gallon since the war started. And oil influences far more than just gasoline. Electricity, transportation, heating, food, many of our everyday goods. Basically, when fossil fuel prices spike, the entire economy feels the pain. And that exposes one of the biggest weaknesses of fossil fuels. Their whole supply chain is fragile. Now let's take a minute and think about how fossil fuels actually reach your home. Oil doesn't just appear at the power plant. It has to be drilled, refined, transported, shipped across oceans, and delivered through massive infrastructure networks. It is a very long and complicated supply chain, and at every single step, something could go wrong. Sanctions, pipeline failures, extreme weather, or in this case, a new war, creating a shipping crisis in one of the world's most important energy corridors. And look, this isn't new. The first time Americans really felt it was with the major oil embargo in 1973 that lasted a whole year. For decades, we've had no choice but to ride out these price swings, but now there is a way out. Renewable energy works differently, and technology has improved. Sunlight doesn't travel through pipelines, wind doesn't rely on big tankers. The energy stored in batteries can't be blocked by military conflict. In the great words of Bill McKibben, renewable power is liberating.
Think about how the geopolitics of the world would have been different in the last 100 years if oil had been of trivial value and we ran things on sun and wind. Think of the wars that we would have avoided.
Unlike oil that needs so much work to get to us, the sun simply shows up every morning, and wind is always flowing somewhere. And on especially sunny or windy days, we can store that energy to use later.
As long as we are dependent on fossil fuels for our energy, I don't think that we have true energy independence.
Sadly, I don't think we can snap our fingers and get America to switch exclusively to renewable power overnight, which is why more households are starting to rethink where their energy comes from. There's 3 technologies that are giving households new protection: solar, batteries, and electric vehicles. Let's start with our first layer of protection: generating your own electricity. Solar panels can help you do just that. They're essentially small power plants on your roof or yard, and once they are installed, the fuel is free. That means if oil or natural gas prices spike, the cost of your solar electricity doesn't jump with them. And remember, electricity isn't just for lights and standard appliances. New technologies are also allowing homes to replace other fossil fuels they historically relied on, like induction stoves, electric washers and dryers, or heat pump systems that heat and cool homes using electricity instead of burning oil or natural gas. When that electricity comes from solar, your entire home can run on sunlight too. Not only do you reduce your reliance on volatile global markets, you also reduce or potentially eliminate your utility bills.
I actually have a net zero home, heat pumps installed, solar panels on the roof, no electric bill.
This is one reason that rooftop solar adoption has grown so quickly in the US. And if your roof or yard can't support solar, there are other options like balcony or portable solar panels that can power small appliances. But even still, solar alone isn't a complete solution because the sun doesn't shine 24 hours hours a day and cloudy days still exist, which is why the second layer of energy protection is just as important. Batteries solve solar's biggest limitation. They store energy for later. Did you know that the sun delivers more energy to Earth in 1 hour than humanity uses in a year? We have got to bottle that up. And with a home battery, you can. Pairing solar with batteries gives you energy independence, though most people still choose to keep their systems connected to the grid for simplicity. But still, you'll feel 24/7 freedom from volatile oil and gas prices and be able to keep your essentials running during power outages. It's a total set it and forget it design.
I just look at it from the sheer just ease of use. You can stand it up if there's a disaster, set up solar panels and a battery system with an inverter. You're not reliant on fuel that's limited. It produces no noise, no fumes.
Plus, battery tech is becoming more powerful, more affordable, and easier to install. Interested in learning more? Go check out this video where I geek out over the 5 levels of home batteries. But you likely still own one big thing that keeps your energy costs chained to the global fuel markets, and it's parked in your driveway. It's time we talk about your car. For many households, gasoline is the biggest way that global energy shocks hit the family budget. One week, you're paying a reasonable price at the pump, and the next, you're watching those numbers climb past $4 or $5 a gallon. And even without a global energy crisis, the average American household spends $2,000 to $4,000 a year on gasoline. Electric vehicles can eliminate that. And if you install an EV charger at your home with solar panels, you can fuel your car with free electricity straight from your own roof. Suddenly, the price of driving becomes far more predictable. No oil tankers, no refinery bottlenecks, no pain at the pump. Just electricity generated right where you live. And now, EVs offer something even more interesting. Some newer models are beginning to support bi-directional charging, which allows electricity to flow both ways. That means your car isn't just a vehicle. It can also act as a massive battery for your home. With this feature, you can plug critical appliances or devices into your car, or you can get a whole home setup where your EV automatically taps into your home's electrical panel. Then if the power goes out, or you simply want to avoid pricey electricity, your car takes the wheel. That's right, an EV eliminates 2 pain points in one. No expensive gasoline and no expensive electricity. Now look, for decades, energy security was mostly something that the governments handled, but these 3 technologies are shifting some of that power to households. Together, they allow homes to generate, store, and control their own energy, which is why more and more homeowners are making the switch.
With the weather getting more unpredictable, with political climate becoming more unpredictable, having power security is super important. It's kind of like number one, like you got to have power, then you got to have water.
With the fragility of our nation's functioning, we could lose some grid. And so we don't want to be tied to it.
Now, that doesn't mean that global energy markets suddenly stop mattering, but it does mean that families have more protection against price shocks or grid outages. When conflicts halfway around the world can disrupt our access to energy overnight, that kind of resilience becomes incredibly valuable, incredibly personal. My point with all of this is global energy markets will probably always be unpredictable, but the way that we power our homes doesn't have to be. Now, if you want more breakdowns on the future of energy and clean tech, hit subscribe. And if you want to explore solar, heat pumps, batteries, or EV charging for your home, head to EnergySage.com to get free quotes and talk with a real human energy advisor. Because when times are uncertain and you feel powerless over the state of the world, having control of your energy can make all of the difference. So, I want to know, what are you doing to gain more control? Drop a comment below and stay plugged in.